or so when he's been going to college. So, you know, I say bug because I just felt like that was where I needed to be. I felt like that was my place, even though I fought it on and entered into, I also joined based on the National Guard. So I was what they used to call a part-time warrior, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, these days, it's not so much part-time. It's, you know, almost another full-time job. But that's how I joined. And I tipped my toe into the water, so to speak. And then I just fell in love with it. I realized this is where I wanted to be, and this was my calling, and did that for, well, ended up being about 30 years.
That's amazing. 30 years.
30 years.
What gave you the idea of doing a book like this?
So as I started coming towards the end of my career, I've been on 5 combat tours.
Dakota.
Yeah. He's been really great working with another vet who kind of understands what that may look like. Even though he's male, he still gets that Army feel, right?
So if you guys would like to celebrate July 4th and also bring some love of our country to your kids and teach them that there's a lot to be proud about for a veteran, but also for America. So July 4th, I'm sure you've studied all the holidays, and your book sales will probably be higher every single one of those holidays, because you've actually done books that say the Soldier Moms Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is coming up, and yep, there's Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. So within the chaos, I think these messages really resonate with people, and it makes them understand a little bit deeper what it is that this country does to keep our freedoms and to do the things that we're able to do. And for those,
I have this image, and it was like a lightning strike hit, and this is what I'm seeing. And I basically told her what I had seen in my vision, and she got goosebumps. I got goosebumps, and we immediately thought it was the best way to go, because it also fits well into the book. It fits perfectly into the way that we formatted the book and the way we set things up.
Yeah, and I love the factoids. No one that reads this. Well, happy July 4th. It is a beautiful day, and I'm so excited about this particular guest because she embodies the message of what July 4th is about. She has 2 beautiful books, and she's going to have, I think, roughly 12 or 13 more. It's a Soldier Mom series, and I just want to congratulate her because these books just recently came out, and she's going to be going to Nashville to show them to some education distributors. So Jodi Martin, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, and happy birthday, America.
Indeed. You know, I don't think I've ever done a show on July 4th. So you and my son are the 2 people that have done an American and also a patriotic theme. So we'll see if he gets to be on there. Oh, look at this. Freedom is everything. Look at this. I got a shirt.
Oh, let me see.
From my producer here.
It is everything. I love that shirt.
And I thought smiles were everything. So anyway, I might switch in, you know, when we go to intermission, I might switch into this shirt. But, you know, the thing about this shirt is that I need to gain some weight. You know, I think I got smaller when I got this shirt.
Nice. So, way better than the opposite.
Yeah, it's way better. So Jodi Martin, thank you for taking some time on a holiday to share why you love America, and most importantly, for making a ripple effect. You don't know how big this is going to be, but no one does. And the cool thing is when people read these books, and by the way, just to give you, I'm just going to give a random opening of the book. I mean, it's just beautifully done. We're going to hear from Dakota Smiles, the one who actually illustrated the book. And Jodi, this is about you. So let's talk about, first of all, who is Jodi Martin, and where were you born? What was your childhood like?
Oh my gosh. So, first of all, every time I see my covers, I get chills that I'm a true author. I'm living what I promised myself I would do. But so I grew up a Navy brat. My dad was in the Navy. Mm-hmm. Hence the military bug has been in my blood my whole life. But we moved around the first couple of years of my life, but we ended up landing right around Jacksonville, Florida, if you know where that is, in a small town offshoot, Orange Park. There's 3 Navy bases there. So I grew up essentially in that area. And life was pretty good. We were pretty poor. We didn't have a lot of money, so we made a lot of use out of our imaginations, if you will. So always been a good storyteller, always been able to, play the games that we played in the neighborhoods because, our parents kicked us out at 9:00 in the morning on Saturday, and we would not be allowed back in until the street lights came back on. Essentially, they'd throw us some food in the yard. Here's your lunch. So I grew up a Navy brat, but my parents divorced, early on. I was probably in 5th or 6th grade. And my mom had actually joined the National Guard, the Florida Army National Guard. And so just looking at her and her life and what she was able to do as a single parent and raising, two basically teenage girls and still be able to maintain a professional job. Because back then in the early 70s, late 60s, that was almost unheard of. I know a lot of people today don't understand how rare that was. But ultimately, she grew in the Florida National Guard to be the first female sergeant major in the state of Florida for the National Guard. So there comes, kind of what I have to emulate, right? So that's kind of how I grew up. I got the bug being military early on. I realized I needed to pay for college.
Wait a second. Uh-huh. You got the bug. You brought that up a couple times. I was saying, if she says the bug again, I'm going to interject. So, the bug is an interesting thing because an Army brat, Navy brat, Air Force brat, any of them, they see a parent that has committed to serving and is willing to die for the freedom of our country. And it's a very big statement. It's a very scary statement to utter. But yet the bug is that you are inspired and you feel that they were a hero. It's your turn. And I want to say this because my brother and sister did not elect to do the bug, and I did. And even though my stint was very brief, it was a transportation officer through ROTC, I did experience a little bit of what my dad went through. Not that I went to Vietnam like he did, but the reason I bring this up, and we're doing a little tangent here, Jodi, is I taught in PG County, in Maryland, PG County. And when the kids found out, my 150 kids found out as a science teacher that I served in the military, they said, "Why would you do that?" And I said, "Well, we don't have freedom unless someone serves and someone protects our country." And not one out of the 150 said, "I would die for my country." And it made me sad that day. So when you say bug, it's a unique bug.
You're right. And, I go back to what you're saying. I've raised 2 kids as well. And neither one of my kids, until recently, really wanted to join the military. My son, who is going to college right now for his aviation science degree and be a pilot, he wants to fly for the Air Force. Oh. So that's the first military words that I've really heard in this past year or so when he's been going to college. So, I say bug because I just felt like that was where I needed to be. I felt like that was my place, even though I fought it on and entered into, I also joined based on the National Guard. So I was what they used to call a part-time warrior, right? Mm. Of course, these days, it's not so much part-time. It's, almost another full-time job. But that's how I joined. And I tipped my toe into the water, so to speak. And then I just fell in love with it. I realized this is where I wanted to be, and this was my calling, and did that ended up being about 30 years.
That's amazing. 30 years.
30 years.
What gave you the idea of doing a book like this?
So as I started coming towards the end of my career, I've been on 5 combat tours towards the end of my career. I was also, when the war first started in Afghanistan, I went over twice as well. But those last couple of years, when my kids were really small and kind of growing through those years, I realized I was missing a lot. And
so wait a second. So you're telling me they didn't fly you home every night to make sure you could be with your kids and celebrate holidays?
No, as a matter of fact, when I first went over my first deployment in 2004, there wasn't any cell phones like we have now. They had those big, heavy satellite phones that you could talk on, but I didn't have privilege to get one of those. So a call home once a week was about all I got. And it definitely wasn't a video teleconference kind of call. It's not FaceTime. It's not those kind of things. So it was a lot different. By the time I went again in 2013, a lot had changed. And we had the ability to call home and FaceTime and do all those things by then. But in the meantime, during some of those gap times, I missed a lot. And I was also a teacher in my civilian job. And so I teach elementary kids, and I was really the only person that they knew was military, other than like Pop or, like you said, like your dad who served in the Vietnam War, some older generation. And so when I started teaching, I would incorporate some of the Army leadership values. And it's really character. It's, I'll talk about the acronym leadership, LDRSHIP. So it's a shortened version of the full word leadership. And each letter stands for something. So you have loyalty, you have duty, you have respect, honor, integrity, personal courage, all those kinds of things wrapped up in there. So those are just characters that I would teach the kids. On top of, we would always have an Army day, is what I called it. I would bring in all my equipment. I'd build like a little obstacle course, and I would bring in MREs. So we would have a full Army day. And so I did that for every year that I taught while I was still attached to the Army Reserve. So knowing that my kids were in the same school and they were the only ones that were tied to military, I started thinking about, well, what do my kids tell everybody that mom does when she's gone? How does that feel? What does that look like? And within just a few minutes, I'm going to say 15, and it sounds really crazy, but in 15 minutes, I wrote my first book, which was Soldier Mom. And it really pointed to the experiences that I think my kids may have gone through, trying to explain what mom does and how she's still a mom, even though she wears a uniform.
And I would like to just break in and say that 15 minutes of a download it's years of writing that just has massive clarity. Like, you weren't trying to find words, you had them stored and they just flew and flowed. And I've been there, so I know that even though 15 minutes sounds like, oh, I just put it together. No, this is a tremendous amount of time to think and poise and articulate everything. So congratulations. I'd like to give a little show. I'd like to show off the book a little bit.
Sure.
So Dakota Smiles is someone that really brought this to life. And
yeah, amazing artist.
Yeah, and the words are words, but with the illustration, you have a different way of feeling about the book. So I love what this book means. Hey, what's the deal with this little raven? I see a raven or an eagle back there.
Raven. It's a flamingo. So there are black flamingos, believe it or not, but they're very, very rare. So we wanted to just kind of put a little, a couple flamingos here and there for the kids to find. Hey, look at that flamingo, because that's my favorite bird.
I couldn't believe you didn't put a flamingo in the tree that, you had to go and chase.
Well, they don't. Yeah. Depends on where you live. You might not have any that would fly around. I did when I lived in the Florida Keys, but that's not the same.
So I'm not gonna share the whole book. I just want to give a little taste to how beautiful it is, and I like the extra coloration and details that you brought into the book with Dakota.
Yeah, he's been really great working with another vet who kind of understands what that may look like. Even though he's male, he still gets that Army feel, right?
So if you guys would like to celebrate July 4th and also bring some love of our country to your kids and teach them that there's a lot to be proud about for a veteran, but also for America. So July 4th, I'm sure you've studied all the holidays, and your book sales will probably be higher every single one of those holidays, because you've actually done books that say the Soldier Moms, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day. In fact,
Veterans Day is coming up, and there's Memorial Day. Mm-hmm.
So why don't we talk about July 4th, since that's the holiday today? What can you tell the listeners that maybe they don't know about July 4th?
Well, I always do a little bit of research for all my books. And so I always find these little fun facts about things that I didn't know. Here I am, a veteran, a very patriotic veteran, and I find new things when I go and do these research. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Liberty Bell that I found out. Now, I've actually seen the Liberty Bell. It hasn't rang since 1840 something. Anyway, a long time ago. They rang it, it cracked, they put it to the side. They said, no, we're not going to ring it anymore. However, every July 4th, the bell is kind of knocked on 13 times. You know why?
Tell me why.
So it goes back, they pull all the descendants from those who originally signed the Declaration of Independence, and they ring it 13 times for the original 13 colonies that was part of that Declaration of Independence.
That is
pretty
so
cool, right?
Really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I had been there and I didn't even know that. Maybe I learned it and I forgot it, but I relearned it when I was doing a little bit of research.
I've never heard that one before. That's
yeah,
cool.
I thought that was pretty amazing. And I love the fact that we can go back and figure out the descendants of the people who signed the Declaration. And that genealogy just knocks me out every time. But yeah, there was a lot of neat facts. That was one of them about the 4th of July that I didn't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you said Liberty Bell, you know that in the back of your book, you have all these other authors that you're actually supporting and marketing, cross-marketing is what it's called. And they're doing the same for you. We just got the new book of Beth, and it's so cool to see that her book went in after yours, and you're already right there.
Soldier Mom.
And I want to say a couple things, because when they're on a show, your books also get shown. And my son, who's going to be doing his July 4th episode, is going to be showing off your book. But he did a book on America, got him into the White House. And let's see, where is the America book? Let me just go there. So this is the Liberty Bell, and he went and found 5 facts about each state in America. And I'll just give you a 1-minute version of this, because his book is going to have your book in the back. So it says, my name is Kenny. I was born June 14th, Flag Day, and I want to share some cool trivia about our wonderful country. Some people don't realize how great our country is, and I hope this book inspires them to have more pride. Well, I'm going to skip very fast through this book to read what I think is my favorite thing about July 4th. And that is this. My absolute favorite thing about America is that we honor and remember our heroes. They fight to keep us safe and are willing to die for our freedom. This book does not exist without the heroes who serve as first responders in our military. And for those of you who want to educate your kids that America is not just a great country, but you are part of what makes that country great. Some people look at the country as it's a different thing, and it's a John F. Kennedy, ideology of what are you doing to make your country great. And so I think someone like you, Jodi, I think is reinstilling how important it is to be a patriot and how important it is to celebrate the veterans. And even if you don't fight for a country, what you're doing to support them is everything.
Absolutely. I cannot be more emphatic about, it's not just about the veterans, but it's, like you said, the support that goes into the veterans that do the heavy lifting that keep us free, right? And there's the first responders as well. I mean, look at 9/11. That wasn't necessarily the military that went in. Those were the local firefighters and police departments and the EMT folks. They are as much about that freedom as we are. So when I say soldier mom, that means a lot of different moms that are kind of doing the same thing that I did as a soldier, right? So
yeah. And I remember we talked about how your series evolves into the leadership part of it. And by the way, I want to share kind of a cool facet about the leadership piece, is that you have a friend that actually a year before you did a leadership series. And so, it's an interesting thing. When someone wants to study leadership, do you think that they just buy one book on leadership? They buy as many as they can get. If you want to learn about how to market the best, you don't buy one marketing book. You buy every marketing book you can get your hands on, because one might have one piece of gold, another might have another piece of gold, and you put them together and you're 10 times better than everybody else. So I want to hear, you have a sister, and her name is Rhonda Kent. She's married to Dr. Brian Kent, who's a veteran. And you guys are going to be best pals, I think, at MIC, which is the military influencer conference. And she's also coming to Nashville, and you'll meet her there.
Right.
But she did a leadership series much like you're doing, but yours has different words and different lessons. So I'm going to just give a little how do you do to this is Rhonda R.L. Kent, and illustrated again by Dakota. And I'm not going to go too long on this, but I do want to show you that it's a curriculum, and she's got L is loyal, E is empower, A is attitude, and then D is diligent. And I'm going to skip to this one right here. Phoebe is prepared. And they've all sold, but Phoebe has outsold all of them. So I think what's interesting is that you being a pathway of leadership, or Rhonda being a pathway, is that you guys are taking turns opening doors for each other, because that topic is so important.
Yes. The world as a whole is very chaotic right now. Not that I think it's always been, but it comes in waves in the different countries, right?
Right.
And anytime there's chaos, there's got to be a way to ground yourself. And for America, that is going back to our roots. And that is, we act like a family, right? We're allowed to argue with each other. But when the time comes, if an outsider tries to, hurt us, we're like, nope. It's not happening, right? So within the chaos, I think these messages really resonate with people, and it makes them understand a little bit deeper what it is that this country does to keep our freedoms and to do the things that we're able to do. And for those of us who traveled, which other countries are not like ours, and I mean in a way that's not good, right? They really tighten down and ratchet down on what you say and how you behave and what you can do, and it's definitely
exactly. There's freedom is nothing because there is none.
There is none.
And that's the thing about our country. Sometimes it's so free, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
So I'd like to not go deep into your other books, because you have a leadership book series that's coming out. Dakota's going to be joining us probably in about 5 minutes or so. But I wanted you to just take a minute to distinguish the upcoming holidays. We have Memorial and Veteran Day, and I'm just going to show that cover after you're done. So go ahead.
Okay. So what I like to do is tell people, and in a uniform, you get this a lot. Happy Veterans Day, Happy Memorial Day. Now, I am not tied to how you wish anybody Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Both can be very somber, but they're both very joyous occasions as well. So Veterans Day, just so everybody knows, Veterans Day is different from Memorial Day in the way that Veterans Day talks about or celebrates people that have served, past, present, and, those that actually gave everything for our country. However, Memorial Day just really only is to honor those that gave their life while serving, right? So that's the big difference. And what I find a lot, they don't know the difference. They don't understand why we have two different military holidays, as I've heard it say. But it's really national holidays. Veterans Day didn't start Veterans Day. It started Armistice Day. It was to celebrate the end of World War I. Right. But after World War II ended, I think it was President Eisenhower that changed the name. Hey, we should be celebrating all veterans, not just at the end of a war, because we're hoping that we wouldn't have another war. Of course, we know history showed us that didn't happen, but it gave him a chance to just say to all of our veterans who have served, thank you. Right. And the Memorial Day is that day that we take a moment just to reflect on people who have died for this country, for the exact freedoms we're enjoying right now.
Yeah. So I'll show the Memorial Day you have done, and the Veterans is forthcoming. So this is a look at Memorial Day, and just do a couple pages here.
This one was a little different from Soldier Mom, the original, because on the right-hand side, you see the story being told from a mom and the kid's perspective, right? And these are conversations I've either overheard or I've had myself. And on the left-hand side, it's really those kind of points that I was talking about. How did we get where we are? How do you help kids understand, the important facts about that holiday?
This is amazing. I mean, you're talking about 2 levels, if not 3 levels of talking about history. You're talking about reading level and education, and you're talking about patriotism. And it's a sad thing that when a kid is brought up and they don't understand patriotism, and they're in a country where they have all this freedom. And so I'm really glad on July 4th that you're here to share how important it is. So you have roughly 12, maybe 15 more books coming out. And I think about this live. I just want to share something with you live. that I don't think I've told you. Are you thinking about doing book 16, where it's Soldier Mom, and it has all the different levels: Air Force, first responder, EMT, and they're all different moms. They all just get together to.
I think that would be pretty cool. It would be like a joint session of soldier moms.
Yeah, I think it's a book 16 possibility.
I
And
love that idea.
I do too. And book 15 was my coolest collaborative piece with
Mhm.
my son, because oh, look, Dakota's here. Before I let him in, that his scouting experience and your scouting experience turns into that you are future leaders. So I that's going to be my favorite book. But I think book 16 of, and what's really cool is those moms can actually really be part of the authorship too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's bring in Dakota.
Yep.
So Dakota Smiles has been illustrator, animation illustrator, AI animation illustrator. Can you hear us okay, Dakota? Can you hear us okay? I think he's coming in still. He's flying in. He's coming in low. Are you coming in? Dakota, you got us?
And I got you. Yep,
Good.
got you.
All right.
He is.
So
Dakota.
Dakota, happy July 4th.
Happy 4th of July, everyone. As everyone's dog is scared as mine right now, just hiding underneath the bed.
Well, we showed off the books, of course, and I
Love them.
think I have to get you a couple copies out, and very, very beautiful work. I will continue showing a couple more pages so that Dakota can just share. Maybe you can share your ideas, or I mean, I just absolutely love this backdrop here.
That cover actually gave both me and Jody goosebumps when we kind of were sitting down and discussing it. I let her know. I was like, so that I have this image, and it was like a lightning strike hit, and this is what I'm seeing, and I basically told her what I had seen in my vision, and she got goosebumps. I got goosebumps, and we immediately thought it was the best way to go because it also fits well into the book. It fits perfectly into the way that we formatted the book and the way we set things up.
Yeah, and I love the factoids. No one that reads this book won't come out feeling smarter, sounding smarter, and also just loving our country more. There's just so much beautiful. This is a well thought out, very deep book, and I'm really proud that we're publishing this. I wanted to give Dakota, who is your partner in this this journey, because it's not just a military journey; it's an education journey. It's an American journey. It's a hero's journey, and I wanted to put him on the show. And Dakota, you belong on the show because her words and her vision only come to life with your talent. And so I want to thank you. And Jodi, there's another reason I brought him on. When he finishes your series, he's going to be right around 52 books, and we're making a card deck for him of all the books he's created. And it's an exceptional amount of books. I'm going to take 2 minutes only, just to go fly through covers he's done and all the things he's done for Perfect Publishing. And let's see if I can get these all together. Here they are. So Carrie Doyle was one of the first books he did. And again, like I said, this is not about showing and telling. This is about just showing the amazing amount of work he's done. And the reading level that he provides is all over the place. So he teaches new vocabulary words. And on July 4th, if you want any of these books, we will arrange a 50% sale for you to enjoy the brilliance of this man. When we show these covers to people, they can't believe how beautiful it is, but more importantly, they say, I want to do it. And anybody that wants to write a book, you should reach out to us. Dakota will make you feel like you belong in any bookstore. I mean, look at the different variety. And who doesn't want to be a hoarder? I mean, come on. This is an inspiring look at.
We want to be a hoarder. It looks so much fun.
And look at this. Grandpa wears a wig. I mean, just totally fun stuff here. And I will not show all of them off, but I'm going to just pick one. Oh, this is for Kenny. I mean, he even thematically said, hey, I want Kenny to have a great day. and a great, I don't remember this, I think it was Christmas time. So Kenny is brought in, and so are his cats, and just so well thought out. And then there is one that I really like this one so much. Seymour Lemur is it's such a different approach to art. And we did show off your series that you did with Rhonda Kent. So we showed that off. But I just want to tell you, in case you don't know this, the biggest selling book is Phoebe by far. This one outsells all of the rest total. So you coming up with the idea of Phoebe with the blue hair was a remarkable idea. And we'll go to Jack Hardy,
What's
Jack
cool
Hardy.
about that character as well is she is the only character that has a different color of hair throughout the entire series.
Yes.
So in every single book, she has a new color.
Well, the blue was the winner. That sells the most. So this is a book about Dakota Smiles, a coin that changes to people that are being really very kind during the Christmas season. And so it's again a book that you can enjoy. The fact that it's going to help your reading level go higher, but these people do good deeds, and all of a sudden they get a smile coin, and it's just such a great message at Christmas. This one is such a cool book. This is a book about not being so scared of everything. And so the book opens up with a spider and how scary it would be to see a spider that big. And it turns out it's just a little spider, and he's making a big deal out of it. And then this thing is so scary, whatever it is, and it just turns out it's a dentist. So it's overcoming fears. And I'll show the one that has probably sold the most for Kenny is the Zoo book. And you did 2 versions of this book, but this book has done so well for Kenny. And when someone buys your first book, you end up buying other books by that artist. So this is just such a gorgeous book. He actually took the photos of people that I wanted to have the characters resemble. And then he came up with, at the end of the book, just a beautiful version of Kenny holding his cats. And I think you did a book also for me about a different version, because we had so much great artwork there. We did a Zootopian adventure, which took some of the artwork and took a deeper dive into the vocabulary.
And we also got our other character in there, the person you wanted to get in there.
Yes, indeed.
This is the one where we got all the people in there.
Yeah, and I think while I want people just know who you are, Dakota. So you're a veteran. This is July 4th, and we're honoring people that understand what it is to be a patriot and what it is to value independence and what it is to celebrate America. So why don't you just share for a minute or two about you and your feelings about July 4th?
First, I want to share 2 books really quick. So I'm going to share screen if that's all right with you. There are 2 books.
Only because you're great am I allowing you to share the screen, just so you're clear.
I feel that these are 2 pieces of work that definitely need to be mentioned. This especially helps showcase the difference in what I can accomplish, because this is Happy Flipper and this is more meme style. You could flip to any page and it will actually give you a smile. This is one of Michelle's favorite books as well that we have created together, by the way. So there are just a lot of fun things in here.
Are you showing them?
Yes. Is it not sharing screen?
No, but I'll tell you, it's been great seeing you talk and see the screen for you.
Let me try this one more time. There we go. Can you see it now?
I can see a black screen that says, there, I can see it.
So this is one of my favorites. This is our Happy Flipper, or this is one of Michelle's favorites, I should say. Yeah. All of my books are my favorites. And this book really showcases what I can do, because I made each and every one of these graphics by hand. I first had components made and kind of got a general idea, but I had to go in, put all the font in. This was a really big font challenge for me as well, because I am not good at fonts. So I loved the challenge of this book as well. And then the other book that I wanted to showcase is Tigers. And it should still be right here. Yep, okay. And this is one of the books that we did for Jack Hardy. And this is where his son, he's telling the story of his son and his daughter in couplets. And this is where his son is kind of pretending to be a tiger. And it's this whole scene that he had in his head. And this also brings the imagination aspect of it. And he had said, the way that I made this, one of my favorite compliments that he ever gave me with this book was the way that I made this, the way that it was made, everything that went into it. He doesn't feel that anybody could have provided everything that he was hoping for with this book.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book. And is there anything else you want to show?
Just those two for now. Those because we've already showcased Jodie's books, correct?
We have. Yes, we have.
All righty.
Why don't you take a second of sharing how excited you are to work on this series with Jodi? And I don't think you mentioned how important July 4th is and the theme of Soldier Mom, because you're a veteran too.
Well, 4th of July is very important because it marks when we as a people decided to act against bad behavior, not only bad behavior, but bad practices from governments. So we decided that we wanted our freedom and we pushed through for that freedom. And that's why 4th of July means a lot to me. It also is the holiday that my dog hates. So I am not allowed to enjoy it anymore. But I do love 4th of July and what it stands for.
So you've had
and what Soldier Mom is so important to me. Just the working with Jodi on these books is the cohesiveness that we've had in terms of when we come to the storyboard ideas or when we're putting together things and she comes in with perfect criticisms. Keep in mind, I say criticisms in a good way. She comes in with the perfect criticisms of, hey, well, what about this part and this part and this part? And I'm like, oh, I love your ATD. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing that we love in the military is the attention to detail, because without attention to detail, things can go awry very quickly.
That's beautiful. I know Jodi's personality, and it's about how we can make it better, how we can improve it. So you can say this constructive criticism, but I know she does it with love, and she does it because she wants your book to be better too. Your names are on the cover too, and so this series, how important is this series? I mean, you've done a lot of series for people. How important is this series?
Well, this is another one of the series that will be going to a scholastic level event. And not Scholastic itself, but Scholastic level event.
Yes.
And it's going to be big, meaning it's going to help change multiple kids' views on how much people fight for our country. So it's going to help educate children and teach them. And that's what we're really about here at the Children's Book Department, is we want to help empower both adults and children alike. And that's what we're about here at Perfect Publishing Children's Book Department. So that's why Jodi Martin's series is so important, because it is help empowering that message.
Well, this show wouldn't have been complete without you being part of it. Jodi was quite emphatic that if you could be here for the show, it would make the show really completely balanced. So Jodi, I know you've said so many great things to Dakota that he may not have heard because you've shared them with me, but for the show and for the audience, just share what a difference Dakota's made, please.
For the audience, they don't know that this is Soldier Mom had been done before 2 years ago, but his art really brought it to life. He took the product that I had and made changes that I didn't even see. Like, let me go to this one page. I'm just going to show you the way he thinks. And it was just fantastic. I will tell you my favorite page out of all this. Well, there's a couple, but the one that he made the change on is the one with the soldier running on the treadmill. Now, I don't know if you can tell.
Soldier Mom? That's Soldier Mom, right?
That's Soldier Mom, right?
Okay, well,
it's not coming in very clear, but you see her.
I'm bringing it up for you, honey.
Okay. Bring her up. Bring up the running lady. Okay, so here, she's working out. That's what we do, right? We have to take a physical fitness test every year, sometimes twice a year. What he did here, one, he snuck in a flamingo for me. But two, that reflective belt. People in the military will get that that's a reflective belt. And why her wearing it on the treadmill is so satirical. It's just really funny. I busted out laughing when I saw this. So his ability to reach beyond where I'm even envisioning it has brought the both books to a different level that I couldn't even picture myself. So Dakota, I love working with you and your vision.
And I wanted to cut in and just say, Jodi shared with me, not only is it a pleasure working with you and to see that you give so much love to this project, but she doesn't have to explain what it is to be a veteran. She doesn't have to explain the details of the uniform. She doesn't have to explain how important and critical this project is. And, it's in God's time. You've done just a beautiful job, Dakota. For those of you who get this series, just look out. Dakota is going to have the whole series done by Christmas, so you can buy the whole box set. And you'll get some teasers on what some of the covers look like. But Dakota, it looks like you're going to have 52 books to come out for the holidays. Not just that people can buy them, but people can buy the card deck and people can buy the catalog of your gorgeous work.
I love it.
So I exit my shows with 5 questions. And so today you get a question, Dakota first, because your name is D. And Jodi, you get it second, and we'll keep it that order every time. Okay.
Hey, look, DJ. You used to be a DJ. See how it works?
Yeah, that's good. So the questions I'm going to ask are pretty simple, but they tell how you're programmed. So for people that we don't have time to go another hour or two for all the things you've enjoyed in life. These are the 5 main questions I found really tell people, hey, if I want to be like Dakota, this is what I should do. If I want to be like Jodi, this is what I should do. Ready? So we'll start with Dakota. Dakota, if you have 2 answers, just make them concise and quick. So Dakota, what is a book that changed your life?
How to Win Friends, Influence People was the very first book that changed my life because it was the first book given to me by my first mentor. And that was the start of my growth journey in a sense. And then the second most important book was, what's that book that you made, the oxymoron one? Oh,
the nonsense book? No nonsense book?
Yep. No nonsense, because that's when I got to meet Dr. Smiley.
And Dale Carnegie was the first one. And I'm going to let you get away with that, Dakota, because that was a brilliant answer. As concise as possible, so we exit the show in 5 minutes. Here we go. Jodi, a book that changed your life. Bible, okay. And since the Bible is our number one answer, we want to give one more answer for a book beyond the Bible.
I would say it's not necessarily my favorite, but it was the most influential in my kids' life. It made them better readers, was the Harry Potter series.
Indeed. All right, back to you, Dakota. A movie that inspires you.
Come back to me. Go to Jodi.
All right, Jodi.
Well, I love the movie Castaway. And it'll tie into my quote, and I'll tell you the quote at some point.
Good. All right, Dakota. Do you have a movie that
The Mask by Jim Carrey?
Man, that is a great one. I have to tell you, my son, when he saw that, he was in tears. He was laughing so hard. That is a crazy, funny movie. All right,
it inspires me to be my true self.
Yes. So we'll keep the order, Jodi. Now, okay, Jodi, what's a song that gets you going?
Okay. I will say the one that will stop me in my tracks and make me stop everything I'm doing is Lee Greenwood's God Bless America, God Bless the USA.
I've seen him live. I've met him, and he has held a Keep Smiling card.
Oh, really? That's amazing. Yay. I love him. I love that song. It goes back to the first time I deployed. And every time I hear it, I just stop and I'm getting chills now just talking about it.
I know. He sings it every time with that kind of conviction, flavor. Dakota?
I'm going to spell it because it does kind of sort of make a curse word, but it doesn't really. It's FVCK, normal.
What a romantic song. And thank you for sharing.
It's by Big Moo, and it's a motivational song, and it's all about being the best version of you.
There we go.
I like that.
All right. Who's your hero, Jodi?
My mom, my soldier mom, and my dad. They showed me what it was to be what I am now.
Your book is going to change the world, and it's going to lead you to meeting really big people. Who's someone you want to meet that you haven't met?
Oh my gosh. You throw that one at me. I've actually met Oprah, so I'm just going to throw that out there. She's pretty big. I have no idea who I'd want to meet. There's so many.
All right. Well, you can pass on it. It was just a question. All I'll tell you what. Even though he's a wacky doodle, I would like to meet Elon Musk, and I'd like to meet Sir Richard Branson. So I'm giving you two completely different disruptors in the world. Dakota, who's your hero? Who's your hero?
My hero is Dr. Smiley and Dr. Michelle Mraz.
Now you don't make me blush. And who would you like to meet that you haven't met?
Jim Carrey.
He is a very complicated and cool dude. He's not just a comedian, for sure. He's awesome. All right. Final question. Jodi, the tie-in to your previous, what quote do you live by?
Never, never quit.
Say it again. It got cut out.
Never, never, never quit.
Winston Churchill once said something like that.
He sure did.
And Dakota, what's your quote?
I have the body, mind, and metabolism of a god. I love me. There is no such thing as good or bad days. Perception shapes reality. So I'm going to go make a great day.
And that was Dr. Seuss?
That's me. That's all. Well, that's a combination of other people's, but combined into my own.
Okay. So, Dakota, how do people reach out to you, celebrate you, support you, and actually hire you?
You go on to our website, perfectpublishing.com.
And if you have an idea for a book, this man has made dreams come true. Jodi, how do people reach you?
Is to Instagram at Soldier Mom.
Soldier Mom on Instagram. And by the way, her Instagram is flooded with great information, great book ideas, great thoughts. So it's an inspirational page, and I'm really happy to have you as part of our Perfect Publishing family.
I'm absolutely excited to be here.
All right. Well, happy July 4th. This was just a surprise celebration of a holiday, an author, an illustrator, and of course, 2 new books in the world. So get your hands on these books. I promise you this. You will finish them and you'll say, when's the next Soldier Mom coming out? So this is Dr. Smiley celebrating not only July 4th, but what it is to be an author and what it is to have a children's book with a brilliant illustrator like Dakota. So have a great day. Enjoy and stay safe.